The Minnesota Timberwolves have reportedly reached out on a Coby White trade. We're going to discuss a little bit about that and what exactly could the Timberwolves offer for the Chicago Bulls. Could this be a move that actually forces the Bulls to finally pick a direction? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also talk about Billy Donovan's brutally honest comments, and I don't know if I can continue to defend the way he's calling out the team. Plus, there's a new buzz around Jonathan Kuminga and the Bulls still being interested in that. We got a wild episode planned for you guys today right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And with that said, I had a breaking news episode yesterday in regards to the Chicago Bulls and the report that came out for Joe Cowley. Joe Cowley wrote this. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been big game hunting for a point guard. The source said that Minnesota is not looking to wait until February and the trade deadline to get a deal done. Looking to fix the primary ball handling situation that's been an issue for long, and that they have reached out and inquired about Coby White's availability. Right, so the Minnesota Timberwolves are targeting a point guard. There's not any surprise there, right? Like I think most general NBA fans that pay attention to the league as a whole realize that they're probably going to be looking for a point guard. And that's partially due to Mike Conley getting a little bit older, and just that's kind of one of the last things that they need on that team to kind of bring it all together. And, you know, it is what it is when it comes down to that. So with the Timberwolves looking at Coby White potentially right now, all we know so far is that they've reached out to gauge his availability. For all we know, the Bulls could have responded to that call with, no, we're good. We ain't got nothing for you, and moved on, right? But I said yesterday in that live stream that over the next 24 hours is probably when you're going to hear Mark Stein and Jake Fisher and these type of guys, add some color to that reporting that they reached out in regards to Coby White. And we got exactly that, right? So, Jake Fisher or Mark Stein posted about it on his blog as well. And so what we have heard so far is that Donte DiVincenzo is a player that they could be looking to move, not necessarily just for Coby White, but in any deal to get a point guard, right? And as it stands right now, Donte DiVincenzo is having a pretty solid year there for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's averaging, quite a bit of assists per game. I think he's third on that team in assists, right? And so that's good to see that. But here's the thing that I personally feel on this, and this could be me being a homer. I'll say that, right? If the Bulls move on from Coby White, the thought process that I would have is I want younger talent that kind of more fits the new timeline. And not to say that it's completely like Donte DiVincenzo isn't drastically off the timeline. He's 28 years old, right? But I would want players to kind of more so fit the timeline. Now, he's averaging 13 points per game. He's averaging 3.7 assists per game and 4 rebounds per game. He's not Coby White. He's not as good as Coby White, right? That's just the reality of it. Now, if I'm the Chicago Bulls, right, I'm looking at a package that involves Juan Berenger and Terrence Shannon Jr. That's one of those two players has to come over. If you want to send an older player as well to make the salaries work, cool, right? And I know that Bulls fans have this thought of, okay, can we include Vooch? Can we include P. Will? And here's the thing, right? And I mean this with love. I really do, right? But for like Bulls fans that are like, oh, well, we're gonna hang up the phone if they aren't at least including Naz Reid. I need everybody to realize, especially if you're somebody who has critiqued AK for not getting deals done, you have to realize that a lot of the deals that you guys present is going to get you hung up, and then you would literally be, regardless if you feel like you're being more active and trying to aim high, is that you would be exactly AK and not get anything done, because a lot of the deals that you guys present is not going to get done. The Timberwolves are looking to add to their core for win now players because they want to win a title right now. They feel like Anthony Edwards is ready. They want to win a title right now. They're not giving up Naz Reid for Coby White. They're not giving up so much of the frontline defense that helps them and covers up for some of the perimeter stuff. So they're not doing that, right? They're just not going to do that. So, of course, you can look at Donte DiVincenzo, Juan Berenger, Terrence Shannon Jr., right? maybe, and I'll say this with a maybe because I don't quite think that this player would be available, but maybe you can get McDaniels out of them. Maybe. But with the explosion that he's having this year, especially as a defensive player, averaging over 15 points per game too, I don't know if you can get him in that. But again, at 25 years old, maybe if you include a pick. Right now, that's a maybe in a case like that, right? So, that's what it comes down to. But I want to be clear here, right? Joe Cowley did also say in this article that the Bulls do hold the keys, saying this: despite currently sinking in a 7-game losing streak, Bulls executive Arturas Karnisovas isn't ready to fold his hand just yet. Maybe soon, but not yet. Karnisovas preached competitive integrity for years, so the idea of tanking isn't on the table. That's another thing, right? And I think we have to keep in mind in this. AK isn't going to do a deal that's going to send the Bulls into a complete tank. Now, it could reset the timeline slightly, meaning that, hey, if you get a TSJ and you get a Juan Berenger, like those players have tons of potential, but they may not be that right away in what they can be. Now, Terrence Shannon Jr. is 25, right? Only a year younger than Coby, so he needs to hit that sooner rather than later. But at the same time, like, it's not going to be this thing where the Bulls get much worse, and they are going to look to get much worse, which could mean why they could be interested in a player like Donte DiVincenzo to get him back, right? So it now brings, of course, the question of what is going to happen here, and I think the way that it's reported is kind of telling to this. The Bulls it wasn't an offer, right? It was to gauge the availability. Right now, the Timberwolves are doing their due diligence in reaching out to players that they could be, reaching out to teams that have players they could be interested, just to gauge what the market is looking like. Now, within the next couple of weeks, especially if they want to make this trade now and don't want to wait to the trade deadline so they can incorporate the player, get them all ready, integrated, get over any kind of learning hurdles and things like that, because they want to be ready by the playoffs to be a full go. It could come sooner rather than later, right? And the question that's overarching in all of this too is that the $30 million contract that Coby White wants. If the Bulls have looked at this season and they have gauged or decided that, hey, we're not willing to pay that, or listen, because of the injuries, we're going to offer him this, and he could walk in free agency, maybe there's something with that, right? I don't know. If the Bulls have any inclination that they are going to be hesitant to sign Coby at the money that he thinks he wants, they may move. And I want to be clear here. I'm somebody who I've been very vocal. I do not think the Bulls should move off of Coby White. I don't think that they want to move off of Coby White. But what you want to do and what you need to do, or maybe could be two different things. And that need for me is that if you think that you are not going to give Coby White the money that he wants and he can get that elsewhere, if there are teams that are willing to give him that, you have to trade him now at the trade deadline. That's just what I'll say. And it's with that caveat, if you know that you're not going to bring him back, you have to move off of him. You just do, right? And so with Minnesota expressing some interest in Coby White, we'll see what the Bulls and the runway that they have to work with this and decide on what they're going to do, right? Now, many people and many Bulls fans are going to say they want Terrence Shannon Jr. back in this trade, right? That's part of the reason why I talk about him. We know he's from Chicago, all that type of stuff. He was a first-round pick at the end of the first round, and the guy has tons of potential, but unfortunately, we just haven't seen it a lot. Now, it's not all due to him. He's only averaged 3.6 shots per game for his career. He's averaging 12 minutes this season, almost 13. It was 10 minutes last season, so it's not like his role is huge, right? Now, we have seen some spurts of Terrence Shannon Jr. and what he can do. For example, against OKC last month at the end of November, he had a game where he had 18 points in 17 minutes, and he shot 100% from the field and 3 for 3 from three-point range. And so there's that potential. You see that. We saw that a couple of times last year as well. Terrence Shannon Jr. has the potential to be a big-time scorer. We knew that coming into the league, right? But getting a player that's 25 years old, only in their second year in the league, it could be a concern. I know, Bulls fans, they love their Illinois guys. They love the guys from the city of Chicago. I get that, absolutely, right? But there's a little bit of concern there. Now, for what it's worth as well, when Terrence Shannon Jr. was in the G League last season, he played 4 games. He averaged 36.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 54% from the field and 36% from deep. He does have that scoring potential. Now, we've seen players at the G League that have scored crazy numbers and couldn't score at the NBA, right? So that doesn't mean it's going to transfer one for one, but I do understand people like wanting Terrence Shannon Jr. back. For me, the player that I would want to target to make sure that we get back is Juan Berenger. That's the player that I would want to get back in a trade because he shapes up to be that defensive big. If you go and look at what his draft status was, right, and what his projection was, You're talking about a damn near Joakim Noah level switchable defender as far as the switchability. Not saying he's going to be the leader, not saying he's going to be the one-on-one defender that is, but with his switchability, that's what the Bulls team needs. The ability to be a rim runner, a finisher around the rim, a shot blocker, all those things are potential that Behringer does bring to this team, right? And so there is some of that, and I won't act like that's not there, but that's a player more so that I would make sure to want to get back, because that's a player that brings a skill set that you don't have and some legit size at being 7 feet tall. He's measured at 6'11" and a half without shoes. He's basically 7 feet tall, right? But I think that's the same measurements of Joakim Noah, if I'm not mistaken. Has the wingspan, all of that. Now, of course, that puts a lot of your potential on your front line, right? Because then at that point, you're looking at Modest Buzelis as your future 3, maybe Noah Essengay as your future 4, Behringer as your future 5. The question then becomes about how long until those players become players you can really win with, and that's the thing that it all leaks back to AK with, right? So we don't know that. Now, there has been a mock trade that was presented in regards to this. The mock trade, now this comes from Bleacher Report, I believe, is the Bulls getting Mike Conley, Terrence Shannon Jr., Leonard Miller, and some draft capital. They don't list the exact draft capital for Coby White. That's a hell of a package for Coby. But like I said, if that's your package, I'd rather change out Mike Conley with Dante DiVincenzo so you can get a player that can fill in now while you develop Terrence Shannon Jr. But like I said, my thing is more so, I would more so want Juan Behringer back in this for this trade for the Chicago Bulls. But that's just me. You guys can let me know how you feel on that down below. What do you think the Bulls should do, man? Are they going to move Coby? Are they not going to move Coby? How do you feel about what the Timberwolves have as far as assets? They don't have a lot of draft capital to send, so it would have to be some of those young players and a mix of veterans. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. Next topic, though. Billy Donovan continues to be very blunt. And there's been, some talk in regards to Billy Donovan saying that the team isn't good enough defensively and how that's impacted the players. I've given my thought. You guys have said your thought and piece on it. But Billy Donovan has said this. This is the most recent quote. People want to sit there and say, well, you lost to New Orleans. They got a bad record. Indiana, bad record. I don't think we're any different from those teams. We're just not gifted to walk in there, and if we show up, we will win games. I don't view it that way at all when I watch the tape. Now, I already know, for the people that already had some issues with Billy Donovan saying this team wasn't good enough defensively, it wasn't talented enough defensively, oh my God, are they going to roll with this? But I think the key part in this is saying we're just not gifted to walk in there, and if we win, if we show up, we will win. And we're not. That's been clear. Like, I get it. Billy Donovan is not a fan favorite here in Chicago. Hell, I would not be mad at all if the Bulls fired Billy Donovan today and hired Taylor Jenkins or Chris Quinn as their next head coach. Would never be mad at that. They could fire Billy Donovan right now, and I would gladly walk him out the United Center for the Chicago Bulls, right? So it's not about any defense of Billy Donovan. But I think that even with Billy Donovan not being the coach that a lot of Bulls fans want, this is the type of things you want. Do you think this is any differently than what an Eric Spoelstra would say? Go and look at how Eric Spoelstra talks about Khalil Ware, their up-and-coming rookie, when he makes some mistakes. He cooks him, right? And so I'm not mad at the words that are coming from Billy Donovan. Like I said before, to me, Billy Donovan you can't remove yourself from the criticism because you are also a part in your coaching decisions, your philosophies. You're not developing players. That's part of the reason why we're here as well, right? So I want to be clear here. Billy Donovan saying that we're not any different from New Orleans or Indiana, a team with a bad record. Okay, we are. We're not. I mean, by the definition of the law, we are not that far off record-wise from those teams. Now, do I think we're far off, that we have more talent than those teams? I personally do. I personally do. The Bulls only having 3 more wins than Indiana with them missing Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner being gone. I think we should be better than that. We should have double-digit wins. That's just my personal opinion, right? But the record is the record. You could say what your record could be. We could talk if they just gave a little bit more effort down the stretch of this game or they were in that game. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but guess what? They're still losing, right? And so I don't know if this is a motivation tactic by Billy Donovan or if it's just one of those things of saying, hey, listen, until we show otherwise, we aren't anywhere different. But Billy Donovan cannot shake off also taking a share in the responsibility of where the Bulls are as well, right? And maybe he is doing that internally. And I know that these quotes and these comments get taken and then they get, turned into something else as they go on. But at the end of the day, Billy Donovan and his coaching staff let this team go from a 6-1 record to a 9-14 record. That just is what it is, right? So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, like I like to say. The Bulls are losing. The Bulls are getting their ass kicked. And a part of that is because of Billy Donovan's coaching, and we cannot ignore that to just talk about, oh, well, just the players, this, and that. Billy, you are also part of this problem. You are also part of the disease. You are a symptom of the disease that has been plaguing the Chicago Bulls, and that disease is called mediocrity. And so because of that, that's where you are right now. And so we'll see if the Chicago Bulls can, overcome that, and if they can get that shit together, and hopefully that they can, and if they do, great. If not, then heads need to roll. And I'm going to be very consistent and very loud about that. If this team cannot turn it around this season, this is it. This needs to be the last. I don't care that Billy Donovan signed a contract extension. You don't have to buy him out to fire him. I don't care about any of that. If this team ends up staying on the path that they are right now, then at the end of the day, that's what they deserve. They have a 39% win percentage. If that happens, that would be Billy Donovan yet again having less wins than the season prior. It's time to let Billy Donovan go, probably regardless. But if you can't turn this around, heads need to roll. It's time. Now, will I think AK does it? No. I'm just going to be honest with you. Should he? Absolutely, though. And that's just my thought. That's my two-piece for what it's worth. All right. With that said, and part of the Mark Stein reporting as well, we did hear that the Bulls may still be in on Jonathan Kuminga saying this. Yet I was advised this week that Chicago should continue to be classified as a team to watch when it comes to Golden State's Jonathan Kuminga. Now, we know that the Jonathan Kuminga can be traded on January 15th, right? He's trade eligible then between January 15th and February 5th. That's the trade deadline. The Golden State Warriors are going to trade Jonathan Kuminga. No doubt about it, right? And we know that Chicago has had trade interest in Kaminga before. But when it comes down to it now is that I like that trade even less than I liked it in the offseason. Yes, you don't have to do the matching that have the baseline compensation because he actually signed and all those type of things. But at the end of the day, it was reported, but this is by Mark Stein as well, is that they've had discussions between Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic. The Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls have had discussions on a lot of players. Nothing has actually pulled the trigger. I don't know if this is going to be anything different when it comes down to this. I don't know as well. He didn't make it. Is this for Coby White? Is this for Nikola Vucevic? We don't exactly know what they are looking for if the Bulls do try to trade for Jonathan Kuminga. We know that they want win-now pieces. That's what the Golden State Warriors are looking for. They're looking for pieces that are going to help them win now while Steph is still playing at this level, and they are hoping to be able to make a championship. They want to make an NBA Finals. I don't know if they're going to get there with the OKC Thunder on pace to win 78 games this season, but that's where they want to get to. And we'll see if they can. Now, if they come calling, if the Bulls, want Jonathan Kuminga, we'll see what they end up giving up. But apparently, according to Mark Stein and others, the Bulls are still in on potentially trading for Jonathan Kuminga. And I wonder, with the place that we are right now in the season, if that plays a part into why the Bulls are where they are in this with these trades is because of the maybe they wanted to hold on to what they had and see the chemistry. And now that they've gone on this losing streak, now they're like, all right, well, fuck that chemistry. And I can't blame them if that's the mindset. I still don't think Jonathan Kuminga is the move. I don't think he brings any defense. I don't think he really brings anything than us, but turn us into more of an isolation team again. But, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that one. I would love to hear from you guys on that one. Hearing that the Bulls are still interested on Jonathan Kuminga, could be one of those teams that try to negotiate with Golden State between January 15th and the trade deadline. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think the Chicago Bulls should do? Let me know that down below. With that said, I haven't gone into the voicemail bag much this week. We got tons of voicemails. I know I'm not going to be able to get through them all this weekend, but I do want to play one today because it was in regards to the Coby White thing. This one's from Jeremy.
Hey, what is going on, Haize? This is Jeremy down in Oklahoma. Your Bulls fan down here representing, watching the Thunder do it the right way, but another topic. Anyway, I'm not trying to give Coby up. Definitely not now. We finally got Zach tomorrow. I mean, that old regime's out of the way. Coby's only had a few years, him and Giddey. I want to see how that develops. I think we need a big man, definitely. That's what's the hold up. But Coby just came back. He's not the issue. I know a lot of people want to strike while the iron's hot or whatever you say, while the value's high, this and that. But, I'm hoping the ownership, they see, we've invested in Coby. I don't want to do what the Bulls do. Let's just, let him go somewhere else and flourish. I think right now Vooch is clogging it up the middle. He's hurting Mattis. He's hurting the whole damn team. I mean, they can't cut. They can't drive because no one respects the middle, honestly. I mean, they sag off Vooch. Just block that. And then Mattis kicks out, this and that. That's another topic also. I wish Mattis was a little more aggressive. I wish he'd fail a little more. I wish he'd try. I don't care if he gets blocked, this and that. I wish he'd taken to the hole, but I think that goes back to Vooch. I mean, they don't respect our interior game whatsoever. So why should they try to even guard it? They just back off. It's an extra man blocking the other guys. So anyway, sorry about your dog, brother. See red. This year's rough. As a Bulls fan for over 40 years, it started off, I thought I had a little hope, but I'm like you. You know, it's hard to wear the gear, but I'm still hanging in there. So, you know, let's rock and roll, and worst case scenario, let's get a good draft pick next year. So, peace out. See red.
All right, so I do want to address, I know you said it and you kind of passed on. I do want to, because a lot of people have been bringing this up. Why don't the Bulls do what OKC did? I need everybody to realize what OKC did is not possible to replicate. They moved on from players that were still in their prime or near enough to their prime where they got amazing trade value back for those players, period, right? And then they also got a player in Shea that was talented, but he ended up turning into an MVP, right? And so the Bulls have not had a player on their roster that would net them anything back similar to what the Thunder got for Paul George or for Russell Westbrook or the players that they moved off from. They have not had those level of players. It's not easy to just replicate what OKC Thunder did because they struck at the right time. And even if the Bulls did strike at the right time, none of our players have had that level of value. They just haven't. Maybe the closest thing is the year that DeMar DeRozan was, fifth in MVP voting? Maybe, but then again, keep in mind, he was a free agent before that season and nobody wanted him as a free agent. So I just don't know if they've ever had that, right? Now, I'll say this, right? As far as the Coby thing, I agree with you. The Coby White thing, I don't want to move off from Coby unless, like I said, the scenario I gave earlier, unless the Bulls know that they aren't going to be able to re-sign him, or it's a hell of a deal where you get some talented young players back and you take advantage of a team that's in win-now mode, and you may get some young players back that they don't feel are ready to help them compete for a title but are still talented, a la kind of what the Thunder got for Paul George. Kind of, right? So, you know, maybe that's the kind of thing in that you're looking for. We shall see. I'm not saying that it'll go one way or not for sure, but we'll see what happens with Coby. But overall, you're right. Bulls fans are frustrated, and they have every right to be frustrated with where this team is and where it's been for years. Now let's see how this is going to develop for the Bulls, and we'll see how it's going to go. But that's my time for today, y'all. I want to thank you guys for rocking with me. The Coby White situation could be the spark that ends up forcing the Bulls to make an actual change. Whether the Bulls commit to retooling or keep pushing through their mediocrity, we'll end up seeing where they go from. We're going to cover every single angle here at Chicago Bulls Central as we do every single year. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, drop your comments down below as well. Are you trading Coby White to the Minnesota Timberwolves if you have the opportunity? Let me know what you guys think on that. You guys can follow us at Bulls Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, and that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, stay safe, go Bulls, and always see red, y'all. Love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.